As we welcome our new bishop, we want to explain his coat of arms and his motto. To do this, we'll look at three questions. Why do we have a coat of arms? What do all the symbols on it mean? And what does it teach us about having a bishop and living our faith? So first, a coat of arms is a medieval image. Imagine a kingdom with a king. This king in turn would entrust the care of a region to a duke. And many knights would swear an oath of allegiance and service of their life to the king through the duke. Each duke would have their own emblem, so that as a duke might lead their men in the chaos of battle, a knight would look to the flag or shield with the image of their house to follow, and would join in a battle cry, adding their voice to what they stand for. And in this way, each knight would find a greater strength and inspiration to give of themselves more deeply. Jesus is our King. Jesus calls us to follow him through following our local leader, our bishop, who gathers us and helps us enter into the life of Christ. A sign of this is the bishop's coat of arms, which expresses many messages in its symbols. So second, let's look at what the symbols mean. To begin with, it is a shield. In many Psalms, King David cries out in prayer, "God, you are my rock, my refuge, my shield, my stronghold in whom I trust." In other words, I can face tomorrow because you are at my side. I will follow you, God, and trust in you, for you are my strength. Jesus is our shield. Behind the shield is a processional cross. In Roman times, a legion would follow the standard or symbol of their company as they marched behind the standard bearer. Our standard is the cross, and we follow the cross to the heart of the altar at the liturgy. Above the shield is a wide-brimmed hat. This is a pilgrim's hat. Just like we have cowboy hats or farmer's hats for work in the heat of the sun, this is the kind of hat a pilgrim would wear while on pilgrimage to the Holy Land. We too are on a journey of faith, and we too labor and toil in planting and harvesting for the gospel. Flowing along the sides of the shield are cords and tassels. These represent our place as a diocese in the greater church. It brings to mind Jesus saying that he is the vine and we are the branches, extending to the ends of the earth, but rooted in him, to be his disciples and to bear fruit. On one side of the shield, we see a red cap on a stick. This cap is called a Phrygian Cap. In ancient Greece and Rome, it was given to be worn by freed slaves as a sign of their freedom from slavery. In the 1700s, it was a symbol of liberty during the American Revolutionary War of Independence. This symbol is chosen to represent our Diocese of Jefferson City, from the city that is named after Thomas Jefferson, the principal author of the Declaration of Independence and one of the founding fathers of the United States of America. And we remember we have been freed from sin in Jesus. On the other side of the shield, we see a quail on a red background. These are the personal symbols of Bishop McKnight that he chose for the coat of arms. It tells us about the heart of Bishop McKnight and how he wants us to know Jesus. Quail are a symbol of God's blessing to provide for all of our needs. Just as God provided for his people in the desert with manna in the morning and quail in the evening. The quail, in the color of wheat, reminds us that God feeds us in the bread of life. And I also understand that Bishop McKnight enjoys quail hunting and experiences God's blessings in the woods and the fields. The red of the background is to honor devotion to the Sacred Heart of Jesus and the Immaculate Heart of Mary. Behind all that we do is the love of Christ and the intercession of Mary. Now, there are two sides of the coat of arms because in medieval times, a family coat of arms would be made from the joining of emblems of the husband and the wife. Here we have the emblems of our local church in the Diocese of Jefferson City and the emblems of Bishop McKnight, who in his ministry as bishop in the place of Christ takes the church as his bride to care for us as his family. Below the shield is the motto. In Latin it says, "Let us give thanks to the Lord." The motto is like our battle cry. It calls us to service and devotion. It is a call to inspire our hearts and to give us insight into the heart of Jesus and what it means to follow him. What can we give God? Everything we have comes from God. What can we give God? Is to give thanks. And we can give back to him from what he has given us. We can give the work of our hands. We can also give our struggles, our joys, our hopes. We can give our very hearts. And to join our gift with the greatest gift, the gift of Jesus, who gives us his body and his blood on the cross and in the Eucharist. This phrase is what the priest calls out to lead us in prayer at the beginning of the Eucharistic prayer at Mass, right as we offer up the gifts and ask God to bless the bread and wine to be our spiritual food and drink in the Eucharist. Finally, what does a coat of arms have to teach us about living our faith? For many of us, the struggles in life are very real. It's a kind of spiritual battle. Who will we follow? What will we turn to? Now imagine a very powerful person shows you the way to deal with all of this. What does it look like? Success? Importance? Nicest things? Security? And then imagine Jesus. What does his way look like? What does his strength look like? So number one, in the midst of battle, look to Jesus. Listen for his call and follow him. Let Jesus be your king. And number two, trust in God who will give you all that you need. Rely less on yourself and rely more on him. Notice what God gives you this day and what God is wanting and trying to give you. Notice how this gift moves your heart and be thankful. A lot in life can look overwhelming and leave you wondering if you can make it. But remember, you are not alone. Remember to turn to God for strength, for wisdom, and for courage. And do not be afraid. So to sum up, in Christ and with him, you are armed for whatever struggles you may face. And we are led in the charge by our bishop in service to the King. Living in this way, how can we not have joy? Let us give thanks to the Lord, who is good, and whose mercy endures forever. It is truly right and just that we give thanks to God.